Two elite welterweights, one proving his place among the division's best, the other fighting to keep his spot at the top. Sean Brady and Gilbert Burns collide in a high-stakes battle at UFC London. Will the veteran's experience prevail, or is this the rise of a new contender? At the ripe old age of 38, basically ancient by MMA standards, Gilbert Burns stepped into the cage for what was, without a doubt, a must-win scrap. If he wanted to keep his name floating around the welterweight title mix, he had to get his hand raised. Otherwise, he'd be handing over his top contender status to a hungry Sean Brady, a man who had tasted defeat only once in his 17-fight career. And that loss was to the reigning champ, Belal Muhammad. No shame in that. The stakes? Higher than Burns' gas bill in the winter. The challenge? A surging young contender who hadn't received the memo that veterans were supposed to get the legend respect treatment. Brady wasted no time establishing his presence, opening with crisp movement and a leg kick to let Burns know that, yes, he was very much here to ruin his night. Moments later, he stormed forward with a clean 1-2 combo, both shots landing flush. While Brady wasn't exactly launching an all-out blitz, Burns found himself on the back foot, applying pressure but struggling to get off meaningful offense. About 90 seconds in, Burns timed a picture-perfect double-leg takedown, the kind that makes wrestling coaches swell with pride. Unfortunately, Brady had the balance of a mountain goat and scrambled back up before Burns could start making real estate plans. The two exchanged shots before Brady attempted his own takedown. Nice try, but no dice. They clinched, as if participating in a mandatory who can control the other against the fence exercise, and Brady managed to score his first takedown in the final minute. Burns, however, popped up like a jack-in-the-box, showing he wasn't planning on staying grounded. Brady opened the second round with a cracking left kick, only to eat a thunderous right hand from Burns in response. The crowd roared, finally, some real damage, and then they clinched again. Brady bulldozed forward looking for another takedown, but Burns was having none of it. Whenever they did get a little striking exchange going, Brady's hands were fast and his combos clean. Burns landed some solid right hands, but found himself back in the clinch every time he started getting into a rhythm. The numbers weren't favoring Burns. While he wasn't getting battered, he was definitely losing the volume battle. Brady kept his work rate high, scoring on the feet and controlling in the clinch. Burns, meanwhile, needed to get busier if he wanted to shift the momentum. Sensing the urgency, Burns came out jabbing and mixing in kicks, trying to shake things up. But like a magnet drawn to metal, he was soon back in the clinch. Brady wasn't landing anything devastating, but his control time was stacking up like unwashed dishes in a college dorm. Then, a flicker of hope, Burns broke free, landed a clean knee, and followed up with a right hand that caught Brady's attention. But before he could build on it, Brady shoved him back against the fence, pressing reset on the fight once again. The fourth round started with a double dose of groin shots, one for each fighter, leading to brief pauses and deep breaths. Once back in action, Brady resumed his attack with sharp kicks and a consistent jab. Burns fired back with a thunderous right hand, but Brady, unfazed, smothered him against the fence once again. With 90 seconds left, Brady hit a powerful double-leg takedown, momentarily putting Burns on his back. Burns, ever the crafty veteran, tried a leg lock to reverse positions, but Brady scrambled back up quickly. Just before the bell, Burns scored his own takedown, making it another razor-close round. The final round played out like the rest of the fight, Brady in command dictating the pace while Burns searched in vain for a breakthrough. Brady's jab continued to keep Burns at bay, a persistent reminder that any attempt to close the distance would be met with precision. Burns, typically known for his explosive bursts, seemed hesitant, his swings coming sporadically and with little conviction. Every time he loaded up, Brady was already a step ahead, circling out or smothering him in the clinch. Brady's game plan was methodical, his low kicks accumulating damage, forcing Burns to constantly reset. Every strike, every movement was part of a larger strategy to break Burns down piece by piece. Burns, for all his experience and toughness, simply couldn't impose his will. The urgency was there, but the openings weren't. Brady sought exactly a takedown, and a clinch exchange midway through the round provided it. He finished it with classic efficiency, settling Burns on the mat and assuming his guard. Byrne, a decorated grappler herself, sought angles and tried to create space, looking for chances to sweep or flee. Brady's dominance was stifling, though. He kept heavy on top, negating Burns' movement, and constantly bombarded him with brief strikes to keep him busy. The seconds passed, and with them, Burns' dreams of reversing the fight evaporated. As the final horn sounded, there was no question about the outcome. Brady stood up, unscathed, his hand already half raised in anticipation of the inevitable decision. This wasn't a highlight reel war. It wasn't a back-and-forth slugfest. But it was a masterclass in control and execution from Sean Brady. He dictated the tempo, won the cleaner exchanges, and neutralized Burns at every turn. Burns, a perennial contender, simply couldn't get into gear. His striking never found its rhythm, his explosiveness was muted, and his grappling, usually a weapon, was rendered ineffective against Brady's top control. Whether it was an off night or a sign of decline remains to be seen, but in this fight, he looked a step behind. For Brady, this was more than just another win. It was a statement. In his last fight, he declassed a former champion, Leon Edwards, by submitting him in round 4. Moreover, he said that win over Leon Edwards was easier than he thought it would be. Who knows, maybe in the nearest future, we'll see a rematch against Belal Muhammad. In this sport, the torch wasn't just being passed, it was being taken by force. Sean Brady made a statement, but what does this mean for the welterweight division? Is he the future of 170? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more UFC breakdowns.